Welcome to the Huron statement. Today, I'm doing quite a few of these today because I had a lot of things to do over the weekend and pent up a lot of inspiration. It's interesting though because the inspiration that I get doesn't necessarily translate into the same monologue. Anyway, I gotta try and stay on. Alright, so this is probably the most important one. You have to remember that what I'm witnessing in the corruption and exploitation locally is application of what is more or less a blueprint. And it's happening in a lot of other locations, involving in a lot of these different locations some of the same characters, a lot of the same organizations, but the application of the same general blueprint. And so one of the key things there is, seizing on desperation and hijacking people's ethics and empathy. So the sort of modus operandi here is to seize on examples of desperation. So what they do is, let's say you're having bad week, right? Maybe you got evicted and lost your job. Well, all of a sudden, some evangelical Christian man comes up to you and preaches a message of hope and gives you his business card, and then you end up living with some very kind, wealthy family, or maybe you get a affordable studio to rent or whatever, and you get a new job all through, your new spiritual guide person. And so now, you're highly impressionable. Not only that, but you're very leveraged. And I'm seeing this over and over again where people are put in a situation where their landlord, their employer, and their pastor are all either the same or highly financially integrated. So this means that if you dissent against any of them, you dissent against all of them. So if you dissent against the religion, your housing security no longer exists, and your income is at jeopardy. So that's the one angle. You're farming the desperate, then you're exploiting them, and if they try to bite the hand that feeds, as it were, there are all different types of idiomatic phrases that can be weaponized against people that are just trying to, look out for their own best interests. Now, it's funny when people are exploiting other people, and the individual being exploited are individuals try to, for the first time in a long time, actually look out for their own interests, how that is then shamed and leveraged as selfishness by narcissists over and over again. It's literally patterned, and it's a tactic. It's a tactic for oppression and exploitation, and there's so many victims of it. It's really, really nauseating to see people get dominated so absolutely. Even a lot of this spilling over publicly. I mean, a lot of it is, the religion setting up, girls that are in, whatever. Maybe it's real bad, maybe it's not, maybe it's just a whatever. But what they're doing is they're interfering with relationships, pre-existing relationships, and then they're placing like-minded individuals into those relationships. So like if you have a woman that has some influence or is attractive, or is with someone that you're trying to target, then you're going to try and create problems in that existing relationship and then insert someone who would be super nice or whatever, and then create some whatever to either get married quickly or, pregnancy. And then from there, edge them into the church social culture, and then, use the justifications that are presented by the church family and also by the pastor of the pulpit to justify, absolute domination, physical abuse, emotional abuse, sexual abuse. I mean, oh boy, I've had multiple women get aggressively screamed at by their husbands for talking to me. And I would have interfered, but, this doesn't happen. So, most recent one, I saw actually 3 people I saw at Prowler's games that are former friends of mine ended up getting reprimanded severely. What was that? What the hell? You cannot say hi to someone you've known for years. Otherwise, they're going to hit you. But that's God's will. Not at first. Or make sure they put a kid in you. Or get you to sign some papers. Or, So, placing people with significant others as a means of minding that significant other, steering that significant other, influencing that significant other, and then accessing the resources and influence of that significant other. It's real gross. And what else? So then we got the pornography, and of course then the pedophilia, and of course all those things go hand in hand. Religion, misogyny, sexual assault, pedophilia, pornography. We got a site that's being produced here and multiple indictments related to it, yet they just can't get to it, even though, wow, this is a real disgusting situation. For some reason, a lot of these things I can't really go too deep into because, I need to amass a much larger audience in order to protect myself, and I need to leave the area. I'm going to be leaving in a couple of days. I just need more places to stay, frankly. I need more home bases. I need more money. I need to have more places for my writing to go. I need help uncovering this stuff. I need production assistance and all that stuff. I have a tiny budget that I'm getting. Most of it's out of my own pocket, but I'm almost out of money because it's such a long story. It's a pretty impressive social manipulation scheme, but it's also uncoverable. It really is surprisingly penetratable, but not by me. I am very, very much so, I'm thinking I'm definitely, in their mind, I'm possessed, influenced, or oppressed, or maybe I'm a demon incarnate. I know that I have a little bit of, I definitely have some eyes inside type thing. A lot of these places locally, but problem is, first I'm I just want the information, I don't even need to know your name. I just want the information, Well, I find out I have an my phone's been, let's say, hacked into, look up what an SS7 is. So like that level of hacking is really troubling too. But I know that there are multiple other people that have the same exploit on their phone. Oh, back on track. All right, so ethical hijacking. So what they're doing is they're separating the parish into demographic groups so that they can seed messages differently to each one of them. But the baby boomers and the silent generation are getting this like financial, ethical leveraging and hijacking where it's like it's kind of oh, crap. It's kind of like the indulgences in old Catholicism where, you know, as these people are getting old and sick and their mental faculties are degrading, you know, they're being convinced that, you know, to give all their money to these church organizations because, you know, they're, you know, manipulating the simulacra, the simulation. You know, they're showing them an artificial view of what their contribution to society is. Like, oh, look at all these people we've housed, sober living homes. Oh my gosh, rehab and counseling. Oh my gosh, look at these people we've turned around. They don't know that it is also an exploitation model that is twisting the religion into a justification for sexual assault and harassment, for grooming children, for sexualizing children, for, you know, normalizing not only pornography and the financialization of sexuality, but the financialization of sexualization of children. I mean, so when you have multiple indictments of criminal sexual conduct, and woven into that is also a couple, you know, church entities and websites sharing pornography involving into underage kids. I mean, the fact that the investigations into this haven't been sincere. We'll just say it like that. They've been heavily influenced. It's incredibly frustrating because we cannot trust the people that have been entrusted to protect the community, but also to investigate suspicions of, you know, high crimes. And this is an open secret. The number of people that know that religion is being utilized to empower the worst people and enable their worst tendencies and habits to a degree that's just appalling. That's the baby boomers and silent gen. They don't know that. All they see is what they're being shown, and their intellectual faculties are so wildly degraded. And on top of that, you know, the silent gen and the baby boomers, especially the baby boomers, they were never very intellectual to begin with, and they definitely didn't have very strong ethical motivation. They didn't have strong moral fiber as a generation. So they're trying to pay their way into heaven now. And that's being seized on by these religious groups that I'm being forced to, I would say being forced to look into because of their integration with the local corruption. And, you know, they're financially it's fastest growing. It's fastest growing in terms of number, but the rise financially is otherworldly. You know, it's just like what what's his name said. Oh my gosh, L. Ron Hubbard. I suspect the easiest way to make $1 million would be to start your own religion. Well, now it's more like $1 billion. A brilliant thing about not starting necessarily a new religion, but latching onto Christianity is that you get to offset culpability and responsibility, but you get to still seize all of the power and really even more ethical and moral superiority. That's the thing is, so many people have been convinced, been duped into thinking that these people are like ethically sound, and those people disproportionately have money and are disproportionately stupid and disproportionately old. And that's the problem, is there's just a bunch of old people that are incredibly dumb and have no moral fiber whatsoever, but their money is really directing public opinion in spite of the intent. Even though the baby boomers are incredibly vacuous, I do think most of those people actually are trying to positively influence the world. But they're doing the very opposite. It needs to be stopped because the entire world is not just suffering, but it's collapsing. I mean, another 50 years of this mismanagement, and we really will be in a situation where humanity won't be able to sustain its population. But with just decent-ish management across the globe, just altruistic intentions, there's no reason that we should be in a situation where we're running out of food or don't have the resources. They're so mismanaging all of this. It's appalling. It's being mismanaged so poorly just to advantage and enrich the worst people in the society. You gotta stop falling for it. Please. Please, America. And to my international viewers, understand that until America changes politically and socially, nothing will change internationally.